collection of horrible creatures that we call the Trash Heroes. Our players, of course, this collection of talented internet cartoonists. Please, as always, feel free to check out their work in the upper right. I'll point the wrong way again so it looks like I'm pointing the right way. You can see links to all of their comic works and Patreons and social media stuff. Please do check it all out. And without further ado, I will mention, of course, before I introduce all the characters, that we are down one player today. But fear not, I have everything under control. So, first of all, I will introduce the keeper of the vermin, protector of the trash heap, Fetid.
That's me. Hi.
Star larger-than-life pit-fighting superstar, Ugna Sugar Tusks. And then we have, in absentia, our trickster cleric, rogue baker, all-around party animal, Tromlin Darioles, currently being played by a repeat of the game logo. And then there is our all-natural Genasi swamp druid, Galorpa.
Oh, those are some good plants. We got some good plants this week.
Remember, don't put the weeds in your bed. Just remind me.
So many ants are already here. They're already here.
Finally, our sweet old grandpa, who's also accidentally an ancient warlock, Copernicus Sunshine.
Terrifying.
Ooh, creepy. All right. For those who are new to the stream, welcome. It is, of course, 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons with quite a few optional rules and homebrew, but don't worry, you'll be able to follow along, no problem. So I'm actually going to be picking things up really in media res here. We left a bunch of stuff hanging last time, so this is going to be interesting. We will be, I'm just mentioning to people in the chat, we will be having a vote shortly, although I'm afraid we still have not yet fixed our issue with subscribers getting double votes. For some reason, only our channel owner seems to be able to do that setting.
I've got a
and we
plan,
haven't figured out how to make
we'll
the mods do it.
try to make it happen at break.
Yeah, we might have to try and do this in the break. So, so for the first vote, it'll just be single votes for subscribers.
The chat has just asked, can we control
Yeah,
Tromlin by vote? Which is a very good idea.
I have a
Or a
write-out
bad
for
one.
Tromlin.
Oh, God.
Whichever.
I have a write-out for Tromlin, but I think we may affect what Tromlin is doing with vote. But it will have to wait till after break because I'll need to confer with my shadow DM. So in the meantime, I just want to remind you guys of some of the outstanding stuff that was going on. You are currently in the bandit camp of Shagrat Scarfang, having just spent the night getting some well-earned rest after Ugna had just the most epic wrestling match.
First date.
With / first date with Hrothgar. And so things that were left hanging include, did Ugna wander off to carry on said date with Hrothgar?
Ugna did not come to the fire that night.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
She's gone off somewhere. We will catch up with that later.
Secondly, Copernicus sent a sending to Dangalf the Wizard.
Right.
To inform him of the crazy crap that is happening, to which Dangalf had responded, what? But also asked to be informed of your location so that he could come and confer with you. Copernicus did not want to waste another sending scroll and didn't reply, and you were waiting to hear back in the hopes that Dangalf would send a follow-up. And that hadn't happened yet by nightfall.
Yeah.
And thirdly, during the night, Galorpa had a dream, another vision, in which she saw the Lord of Stormhill, who happens to be Tromlin's uncle and potentially a family member who wants him dead, had a meeting with some mysterious off-camera person who Galorpa only saw the Lord of the Manor's side of things, Lord Boltree, I'll just call him. And Lord Boltree was basically asking his guards to go and collect Diomedes, the merchant, the Loxodon, from the inn to question him because he had been informed by some informant that his nephew was among your party. His nephew that he has heard other members of the family want very much to get their hands on. But this information Glorpa only gave to Copernicus so far, because when Glorpa awoke in the night, only Copernicus was awake, as he always is. And so this information has not yet made its way to Tromlin. So that's where we left off. We left off with Glorpa and Copernicus by the fireside in the night, discussing this this creepy vision and the potential threat of Lord Boltrey to young Tromlin.
Oh, also, overnight, can I cast Identify on the dagger that I've been carrying for 7 sessions without identifying
Sure
dark, so
can.
it's not going to evaporate, and I have nothing but time, and I don't sleep, and I can do it as a ritual?
You absolutely can. So for like the remainder of the night, you're still up and around, so you can easily take your 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I just realized I'm like watching you guys in delay because I was still watching the stream rather than
I
Discord.
do that all the time. It gets so confusing.
I'm like, why are you guys not moving?
Not reacting.
Oh,
Weird.
or you're reacting to things I said like a while ago, and I'm like, what happened?
We're
Just
all
got
just
your joke.
very stoned.
Oh, the stream's on?
Wow.
Whoa.
Oh.
It's like I'm looking at myself playing D&D.
Classic drug story. I can't hear you. I have a monkey in my ear. I'll tell you that story sometime. But anyway, the yeah. So you Glorpa goes back to bed because obviously Glorpa still needs to continue getting the beauty rest. And Copernicus, you can easily still by the fireside for the rest of the night. Go ahead and do a ritual spell and identify. So you do an identify on this dagger, and you find out that this dagger is actually the result of a spell. It is created by a spell. So it is effectively a temporary object, and you kind of already knew that because you knew that when it was exposed to direct sunlight, it was like disintegrating, or to significant light, and that's why you've wrapped it up and hidden away. And of course, why you waited until nightfall to cast the Identify. Yeah, that's why you waited. There's our explanation. And so, yeah, this is a unique spell that, what else would you get from the Identify? I'm just going to quickly pull up the Identify spell and see if there's any specific information that I should be giving you that I am forgetting about.
How much RAM does this dagger
You learn
have?
its
What kind of
properties and how to
graphics
use it.
card?
Yeah, it has it's got like 12 gigs of RAM, but it only has like 1 gig of graphics dedicated.
Yeah,
Alright,
and what
so
kind
you
of
wouldn't
RAM?
be
That makes a
crazy.
big
It's
difference.
not a gaming dagger.
Yeah, it's not a gaming day.
I mean, you could play like Angry Birds
Yeah, it's
on
fine.
this dagger.
It's got,
You wanna
it's
just
got
play
a
indie
solid
stuff.
state drive.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. As long as
It's
you keep
also
it out of
got,
the light.
you can also set it up for multiple monitors,
Uh-huh.
but only through like old FireWire. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. There's
Probably
nothing worse
bloodproof,
than
though.
a dagger that you have to attach like 6 different dongles to if you want to
Yeah.
stab anybody.
And you don't have a dagger dongle.
Yep.
You have to like special order it from eBay.
Yep.
Or whatever is eBay a thing in
I
your
asked for one at the Apple
Fleabag.
store and they called security on me.
So you would learn that this was so you learn the spell that created it. So this is a transmutation spell. I'm just quickly checking if we actually gave the spell a name. I'll leave that for my shadow DM to look up because it's buried in our information. But this is a spell. I think it's safe to say that you would be able to figure out this is a spell of the Raven cults. So this is a warlock spell specifically. So this is something that is granted by a patron, and it is a transmutation spell that creates this dagger, this assassin's dagger, you would know of the properties of the dagger. So it does sort of act like a very powerful poison, but it is magical. It's not like real poison, which means that it's I believe it's not affected by immunity or resistance to poison.
Well, that's good to know.
You know that the dagger it basically has like one charge, and it has been used. Because as you recall, this one wasn't used. This is the one that they were going to try and assassinate one of you with and never did. So it still has a charge. It still has use. Like effectively, we don't really consider it charges, but basically it still can be used to do its job, which is to deliver a powerful poison-like attack. And when my Shadow DM finds the spell details, I'll give you the specs, because you would get that from the identify. So I'll give you a range, like what the damage looks like and that sort of thing. And if the spell is exposed to the light of the sun, if the dagger is exposed to the light of the sun, it will disintegrate, disappear. But once the charge is used, it'll actually be destroyed by any light. And a sufficiently bright light, even if it's not the sun, can destroy it. So this is obviously the whole idea: is you assassinate someone and then the weapon's gone. Right, which explains why there was no sign of a murder weapon at Otto's death.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying?
So yeah, this seems like something that someone who slays in the night, some kind of night slayer person, would probably use. I wonder if we know anyone like that.
Quite possibly, although I'll remind you that you do know now from your various investigations that the Night Slayers are a tribe that has been out here for a long time.
Yeah.
That is necessarily entirely affiliated with the Raven cult. So they're not one and the same.
Teamed up, but they're not. Yeah.
Yeah. Teamed up to some degree. You don't know whether it's like they're being manipulated or they're being led.
Mm-hmm. And we still don't actually have much of an ID on who the warlock is, do we? Like, I've met their
specifically
familiar.
There's definitely a warlock out there who, at least one.
And I've spoken to their familiar.
Yeah. So just to recap, because it's been a while, this is the problem with playing every other week, is that it stretches out the what was happening again. But you would know that the Vildaravin that attacked you were like summoned shadows of the actual Fey spirit. And that was likely, as you were deduced at the time with a spectacular Arcana check, likely done by a warlock power. So they were summoned by a warlock. So you know that the Vildaravin that attacked you were warlock summoned. The assassination attempt was being done through this warlock spell, and you know that there is a warlock's familiar that's been hanging around. Now, whether that's all one warlock that's done all that, or whether there's like a group of them, like a cult of them, for example, you do not know.
Okay.
And you do have some various reasons to implicate the Raven Queen as a possible patron, because the Vildaravin in particular are associated with the Raven Queen.
Yeah. Oh, the jury has the jury of one has rendered its verdict on it's definitely the Raven Queen behind this, whatever force is starting to lend its magic to.
Didn't you speak to it at one point? Like
the Night Slayers.
At that ritual site, you summoned something.
I think that I made some direct but incomprehensible brain exploding contact with some kind of.
You think you made contact with a patron?
Yeah.
Of some sort.
I'm not sure if I was direct to the Raven Queen or I got the Raven Queen's secretary or.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, it exploded your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or some other entity in the same plane, right?
Yeah.
You also, I just got some information here. So it's a 3rd level spell, effectively, and the weapon does 3d10 damage. I can't remember it's piercing and necrotic, and I can't recall which.
Ow.
I think some of it is necrotic damage and some of it is piercing.
Okay.
I think it just does it does like the normal dagger piercing and then 3d10 necrotic on top of that.
Ooh, all right.
That's
So
nasty.
don't accidentally stab yourself with it.
I mean, Ugna would be sort of fine.
Weapon dissolves in bright light, as you know.
Mm.
I'll leave it at that. That's, I think, sufficient information about this spell. So that's what you get with your identify.
Okay.
During the night. You do not, however, or you have not yet heard back from Dangalf.
Okay. I'm still gonna make him be the one to reach out to me. Also, yeah, I'm sure he's got magical powers
Yeah.
for finding us. We've been leaving a trail of bodies.
Yeah.
And you don't want to come off as thirsty, you know?
Yeah.
Mm.
We also left him, like, what
Yeah.
was it? Some kind of messages at all the different sites?
Yeah, I was leaving the magic note
Right.
messages as a little trail, and
So,
I figured
like,
that maybe
he
you can
could
detect
follow
enchantments,
us
too.
if he
Yeah.
wanted.
Also, I probably should tip off Shagrat at some point to the fact that we might get a visit from a wizard who
Oh.
we can
Don't
trust.
shoot
Just
the
so
wizard.
that just don't shoot
Yeah.
the wizard. So at some point, when it seems suitable and he seems awake, can I go knock on Shagrat's tent and just mention like to expect Dangalf and that he is an
How
ally?
do you knock on a tent?
Just, like, clear your throat real
Do you
loud
like wiggle
outside.
the tent flap?
Tend
I
to
think
set
you
up
make an
properly,
ominous-
so you've got tight ropes. You just like pluck it like a
Oh,
a base.
Oh.
In a bong.
Clang,
Yeah.
clang.
Bing.
And you run your finger up as you go boom, 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 boom.
Mhm.
Scabba-doo-doo, scabba-doo-day.
Yeah.
Let 'em-
It's just bards jamming with the tents.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I scat outside of Shagrat's tent. Vocal scat, let me just emphasize, not bear
Good.
or...
Not the other
Very good.
kind.
Yeah.
Not the more party appropriate kind.
I was gonna say, this isn't that kind of stream, but it
Yeah.
kind of is.
Yeah. Vocal scatting has no place at a party. However, if you're a fan of the word but not the meaning, I have great news for you.
Okay, so anything else that you want to accomplish over the course of the night before people start waking up?
I don't think so. Let me quickly check my list of leads. Yeah, no, that's good for now.
I will point out that the fact that you haven't heard back from Dangalf
Oh, is
maybe
concerning?
may mean that. Oh no, but I mean it also just might mean he doesn't have any sending spells left,
Mm.
right?
Sounds like a
He's calling
Dangalf
cards
problem.
out.
Yeah. No, but the point is that if that's true, then all you really need to do is wait for the
Morning.
next morning,
Yeah.
right? Because that's when you get to choose your spells.
He's got to
when
have a
you're
little
wizard.
nap.
I'm
Oh,
sorry, Dangalf's on the friends and family plan, and I know every 24 hours my text allowance renews, and in future it would be better.
These are Canadian sending scrolls. The data rates are so lousy.
Oh.
And you only get 25
Really-
words.
Yeah, it's real bad.
A really dating myself FidoNet joke, but I'll maybe I won't. I'll just send out a wink to all the people who are, over 40. Actually, do even most 40-year FidoNet would have been the 80s. Anyone who was really online in the 80s.
Oh wow, jeez.
No.
Jeez.
A long, long
No, I
time
don't
ago.
think I got internet until the very early 90s.
FidoNet
Yeah,
was
ham
like that
radio
thing
for
over
me.
when you used the phone lines and it went overnight. So you did your internet, you do your chat boards and stuff, and then the next day all the posts show up because they send it all over the phone
Oh.
lines in the middle of the night when no
Wow.
one's on the phone.
That
I'm
is
I'm a
that is
MIRC
archaic.
baby.
Yep.
The things that people used to do to suck a little bit of internet through a straw,
Right?
it's just...
Yeah, right. Sometimes I feel like we should go back to those days. Like we might
Yeah.
all be better off.
Yeah, if you
Let's
have to,
just
when you
not
have to
have
wait a
internet
day
all
for
the
your
time.
post to show up,
Yeah.
You
it's
gotta think
actually not
about
a
it.
bad idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I was just going to mention the first poll, which I've already forgotten what it is, but my Shadow DM is on the job.
Oh, is it coming up soon? Because I will.
Yeah, I think we're
turn the
gonna-
chat away.
I think
Oh
we're going to
God,
start the
ICQ
first poll right
numbers.
away.
I don't remember my ICQ number, but I do remember the noises it made.
as we run this. So we actually now have better control here. We're going to have a 10-minute poll to give people lots of time to get in on it. So the poll is currently up, and it is running. I apologize to subscribers that you don't get the double votes right now because we're still trying to figure out how to make that work. I think we're close, but we might have a
Technology's
fix for
almost
that
there.
after the break. But for now, it's just a one vote per person. But of course, you can always use channel points or bits to potentially get more votes.
It also looks like our bit tracker is actually working. I can see that it's starting
Nice.
to count up.
Oh, it's not showing though.
Isn't it?
Is it on screen?
No, it's on my OBS. I have to risk looking at the poll. I'm going to cover the lower half of the screen. Yeah, it's just really small. It's over your face.
It's on my face.
It's over on your bar. We're on the DM screen.
Oh, there it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see it now. Cool. Excellent. So for everybody who is thinking of spending bits, just so you know, when you use bits and do your cheering in the chat, we actually are going to show the tracker filling up to another inspiration for the party.
Which
So you can actually
most
see.
of us could use. Fetid, you got to spend some inspiration.
Yeah, Fetid
Yeah,
is
that's
up,
true.
but everybody else is down.
Yeah.
I need to start making some poor rolls or bad decisions.
Or just
one of
spend it on
those
some
two.
fun shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm going to do something dumb. Yes.
Exactly. All right. So I see that the poll is moving along. So I will let that vote carry on while we continue for a bit here. So the morning comes. Everybody starts getting up from their long rest. Some people stay in a little longer. Ugna, still no sign. Things must have gone well.
Refresh my memory of this gentleman's name. Was it Hrakgar?
Hrakgar.
Hrakgar. Okay. Cool. Just so I know.
They called him Hrakgar the Terminator, but you really think he just threw the announcer guy just threw that in
He was
there
being
to
generous.
make him sound.
Yeah.
Well, you have a thing, and it just would be like, it's the Bone Crusher, Ugna Sugar
this
Tusks
guy.
against
Versus Gary.
against our buddy Hrak. You know.
If Randy
There's
was
like,
here, he would tell you about the wrestler whose name I forget, who literally was just like, yeah, I'm like Bob. I just come in as the warm up for the big names, so that I didn't even bother to
Nice.
pick a good name. I'm just Kevin.
Yep.
awesome. But that would
Just my
that would
day
become a
job,
thing,
man.
right?
Yeah.
That would be like if
And
you could
Kevin.
do that. I mean, it worked for John Cena.
That's true.
That's true.
Just use your own name. Okay, so yeah, the morning rolls around. A few people maybe sleep in a little bit. I think Ugna hasn't shown up yet. Glorpa might be sleeping in since she woke up in the middle of the night with a crazy dream to share with Copernicus. But you know, Fetid gets up and yawns and stretches and
Centipede
rolls in the
crawls
mud.
out of my mouth. Typical morning for me.
And Tromlin gets up and does his usual morning prayer, doing a bit of praying for his, as you all know, he's got to get his choice in.
God of the day.
As Randy, we did this for those who are new and may not know. Tromlin randomizes which trickster god he prays to every morning, specifically on a list of 30, so that Randy could use his 30-sided dice.
I didn't realize that was the motivation. That's good.
I didn't either.
I
was gonna say we should roll for him, but I don't know that anybody has one of those.
Oh no, I already have made the arrangement. Oh, that's interesting.
Elon Musk.
Some kind of
oh God.
hype train thing has started up in.
Oh really?
Hype train.
Mine anyway. I don't know if that is a weird Twitch thing that I am unfamiliar with.
It is a Twitch thing.
Indeed.
Twitch is a great mystery to me, and I'm running the stream, so
Yep.
this is going great.
Twitch is like, you can look at it one of two ways. You can go, Twitch, it's so mysterious with all these strange Easter eggs that you have to discover as you go along. Or you could just say what you mean by that, which is this has got to be the least user-friendly platform that exists.
The facts are not great.
You want to talk about like the internet Wild West. So Fetid and Copernicus, you're both there, and Glorpa might best be getting up as well. When Tromlin doing his 20 minutes or so, 15 minutes that he does where he prays to some random trickster god and gets his spells for the day, is going to suddenly blanch and his eyes fly open wide and he goes, "Oh shit." And then he disappears in a puff of mist.
That seems
That's a problem.
suboptimal.
If Ugna were there, would she say that this kind of stuff happens all the time? Or is this
no.
weird even for him?
No, this is weird.
Oh no.
I will also note that it's quite a misty morning. The fog is low in the hills and the valleys are full of it, so you can't really see much beyond the walls of the camp, other than the trees that are closest. And even the tops of the trees are lost in the mist. And Traumlin has vanished into the mist. What do you wish to do about this?
Can I... I'm just, for the sake of thoroughness, I want to do a investigation check just to see if there's any sort of trail or...
Sure. Looking for traces. Go ahead and make a roll.
Yeah.
And I'll give you information.
I'm not expecting much from this, but I feel like I ought to do my due diligence as the ranger.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Probably not going to be very good. It's not bad. 18.
And actually, I'd like an Arcana check from Copernicus as well, since it's relevant to your interests and knowledge.
It's like some kind of crazy magic's going on here.
Indeed.
Wasted 20s.
Oh.
Yay! Another. I'm marking it down. We were at 7 last game, so I'm going to add that.
It's ridiculous.
So
we're at 8.
And my
I just feel like I'll keep tracking it. Some big.
You put them straight in the trash.
Yeah. Exactly. It's trash 20.
Yeah.
That's what you call it.
So I rolled me at the 30.
Wow.
Yeah,
Holy
nat
crap.
20,
Okay, so
30.
I'll give you more information than I was going to. All I was going to say was that you recognized a spell if you made a difficulty 15 roll, which you doubled. So yeah, that was a Misty Step spell. Poll is still going, by the way. I just want to mention that. I think we're well over the halfway.
Cool. Let me know when I can look again. And I will monitor the chat.
Yeah, just a few minutes left. What is this hype train thing? Apparently people can do stuff to build the hype train, which is at 50%. Feel free to gift subscriptions to your friends and neighbors there in the chat if you want to.
I'm gonna Google hype train.
I'm assuming that somebody in our chat who's more familiar with Twitch than we are knows what the hype train is.
We're all olds now.
2 minutes left on the hype train, everybody.
Hype train.
Does that mean I need to turn up my phonograph?
Whatever the heck that is. You got probably about a minute left on the...
Oh, I did a quick Google. It's got emote rewards, which I don't think I've set up, but I will, because this seems like a thing that's important. Maybe we have some defaults for you?
I do not know. Well, it's only at 50%, so I don't know. We'll see if it can get there in a minute 20. But feel free to cheer. It's apparently a thing. I don't know.
We're still learning. We're very good at
I
this.
don't understand these live journals.
Look, if this was ICQ, I could have all kinds of things set up. I knew what I was doing.
And we're down to just a few more seconds on the votes. I think our poll is nearly done. I'm just watching it. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, I
Tromlin-
guess
Tromlin's not there.
hype train can be doing a thing. And then the in addition to that, since you rolled a nat 20 and got a ridiculous roll on that, I would like to give you some additional info. I guess about the environment here. So you recognize that this isn't just a normal kind of like northern misty morning, but you recall that you may have riled the Fae in the area up a bit yesterday when you sent a greater demon to go and harass them. Maybe a connection. In any case, you recognize that this is maybe not a great day to go just strolling off randomly into the woods.
Also, Misty Step is like he would still be within sight, right? Because it's you have a limit on Misty
It's a
Step
short
unless
range.
it's
It's a
different
short
thing.
range.
Unless it's a different kind of thing that just happened.
No, it's definitely a Misty Step spell, which means he must have like stepped like somewhere nearby. But there's a lot of cover nearby to disappear into because it is the fairy mists, and your Fey-related grand nephew, whatever. I'm gonna call it your fairy godson. Your Fey-blooded descendant has apparently vanished into the fairy mists.
Right. Okay. So he's partying in the woods,
and
against his will.
Oh, I guess the train ended or something.
Oh. Hype train over.
Beep beep.
Oh well, hype trains are a thing, I guess. Maybe that'll happen again.
Them.
Yeah, I have no idea what that was or how it was triggered. But in any case, that certainly has pushed the inspiration counter up quite a bit.
Heck. Oh wow, we're almost 50%.
Yeah.
Dang.
Which is great. In any case, that'll still stick around even if the hype train ain't running. Even if the hype train ain't running, you can still take the inspiration bus.
No.
It's not as glamorous, but it's still good for the environment.
Analogies. Right. So, in the meantime, what was the other thing I was going to do? Oh, right. Fetid was doing
Fetid.
an investigation roll. With your 18, yes. I was going to give you this first one without even a roll. You notice when you go and check out the area where Tromlin was hanging out, first of all, that he left his pack
that
behind.
Seems unlike
it's still here. But secondly, right where he was kneeling, lying on the ground in the dirt, you find a single coin, or what looks like a coin. It's metal and round, but it is jet black with a dark purple color all around the edges.
I'm going to try biting it because that's what you do when you see a coin. You bite it to see if it's real.
Is it chocolate?
Or
accurate?
Hopefully chocolate, yeah.
Hurts your teeth.
Ideally.
Okay. It hurt my teeth.
Yeah, it is in fact made of steel, so it's probable that it's like, you don't even like, it's the whole thing where you're supposed to try and make a mark in the gold or something.
Yeah, it doesn't even.
But it's like, they actually say, I read an article once where it's like the opposite of what people think. People think you bite the coin because if you make a mark in it, you know it's gold. But it's the opposite, because gold coins were never made of pure gold. They were always like alloys. If it's a fake coin, it's been made with lead.
Oh, okay. And there's like a gold
So it's
foil
like
on
you
the
want to
outside.
sink your teeth into.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
It's
definitely
not
a
a
thing
good
you should
practice.
bite
That's
down on.
chewy. It's good.
But because gold is heavy, they would make fake gold coins by gilding over lead. And because it would be softer than normal, you could bite it and tell. Apparently, according to an article I read once on the internet, which obviously means it's truth.
This
right?
coin is spicy.
I'm a scientist, and that's absolutely how I expect my students to research their papers.
This coin has made me angry.
Yep. You have a weird, hard, angry coin that bit your mouth. Also, looking around, you find no sign of tracks So
Okay.
it's not like he turned invisible
about what I was
and
expecting.
walked away. He definitely did like teleport in some fashion away from that spot. And that's
Yeah,
basically
I'm
it.
gonna hand the coin off to Perny, see what he makes of this.
And
It didn't taste like much.
It's important to know. I'm glad we've
Mhm.
checked that avenue. I'll do me an Arcana on the coin separately.
Arcana won't give you much, even without rolling. You've got a good enough roll. I'll just tell you it's not magical.
Okay.
But you can
Like a
certainly
religion.
roll religion.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And you do have a decent religion roll, so
Yeah. I've got a 12.
a total 12. So
Yeah.
you rolled, what is that, a 5?
5, yeah.
You're really not sure.
Oh, damn.
Great.
A mystery.
You're not.
We have like a one of those little things golfers put down to mark where their ball was, but it's for our rogue
for God.
Baker
I owe
instead.
you one road.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone feel strongly enough about that roll that they want to try and?
I was gonna say I have a
Inspiration?
plus
Bernie's
1, which
staring
is
at this
not
coin.
much, but
Staring.
no,
Can I
I'll
give
go ahead
him
and
an
roll for
inspiration?
religion.
I have 1,000,000 of them.
You can. I believe I established previously that you can spend them 2 for 1 to get someone else a reroll. So if you want to spend 2 of them, you could give a reroll on that.
Oh.
Yeah, why not? I never
right.
use the. I never remember
Alright.
to use the thing, so let's do that.
I will mark that.
Sure. In which case, go ahead and reroll, Copernicus.
That's a 17.
That is
Better.
a lot higher than a 12. That is sufficient. You recognize this as a holy symbol of the Dark Lady Shar, the Drow Mistress of the Night, the wicked trickster goddess of the Underdark, goddess of darkness and shadows. This is her symbol.
How do the Fae feel about her?
The Drow and Elven gods are very much Fae gods.
Okay.
So, like most of the major Fae gods are some variation of Elven god. Like Sylvanas is an elf, basically, and so on. So effectively, this is a Fae deity.
Can I try?
A Fae-like deity.
Sending a Perninet message to Tromlin and saying, "Are you okay? What happened?" Well, yeah, but in slower Pernier voice.
You will get the. There was a brief delay, in which you're like, "Did that work?"
Mhm.
Nothing.
Okay.
And then you get a rather hurried. I'm fine. I have to do a thing. I'll explain later.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, while the Grand Nephew's away, the Grand Funkle will play.
I quite like
the expression.
the
That
fairy
never ends
godson.
well.
I'm gonna use fairy godson
Mhm.
just all the time because he's Fey blooded. It just
Mhm.
works.
Solid.
And he's full of gods. Just chock full.
Dripping with gods.
So I think I'll tell the group, well, I've managed to get a hold of our friend Tromlin.
As you say that, Ugna comes walking up to the fire.
And it seems that he is...
Hey everybody, how's it going? Oh.
I go to like elbow you in the side, but I really only reach up to like your calf.
You're like
so
just
I'm,
shoving me in the
kinda,
leg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Oh, where's Tromlin?
He
Good question.
left suddenly and magically
Oh.
to go deal with something, which is just as well, because during the night, Glorpa had one of her visions that have so far helped us understand some of what we're tied up in here, and it seems that Lord Boltrey back in town has been told of Tromlin's presence by someone, we're not sure who, but that is really selling him up the river. So perhaps it's better he's in hiding for a little bit.
Great.
That's bad, right?
It's definitely
Doesn't seem
bad.
very good. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh wait! I think he told me that was. They were like related somehow, right?
Yes. Lord Boltrey is, most of the family, as I understand it, would like him.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, you're the exception.
Oh.
I assume you don't want him dead.
Oh, very much so. He's a good lad.
He is. He's a good guy.
Baker.
So I think it's best for now that we carry on without him. But if anyone has something to ask him or a message to check in with him, I
Oh.
can. Happy to send it on your behalf.
Oh, nice. A little postcard.
Hmm.
So, Ugna, did you shag rat that guy?
Shagrat. Oh,
Shagrat is a
oh.
bird.
You mean Hrothgar? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we went over there. His buddies were all like, getting him a little liquored up. They knew what was coming. But
Yeah.
we sat down, we had a few drinks and a chat first, and like, turns out he's a lot younger than we thought. I mean that happens a lot when you're big. Like everyone assumes you're older than you actually
Get
are.
that all the time.
Yeah, and then so we got talking anyway, and like it actually turns out like he had a real bad childhood and stuff. I mean, I guess if you wind up working for a bandit camp, and I mean one thing led to another, and he kind of like confided in me, and we stayed up real late talking, and then he said just like take his bunk. He'd sleep on the floor, so that was fine. It was a good night, but like
Boring.
nice guy.
Boring.
I was hoping he'd sleep on your floor, but that's cool. That's real nice that you had a good time.
Yeah, it was a good night.
That's great. All
Good
right.
friend.
Nah, hey, all right. Hey, what was his name again?
Hrothgar.
Yeah. Gar.
He
Good
didn't really
name.
know his parents either, so I mean we have a lot in common.
Oh. All right. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah. He made me breakfast. Oh, I mean, we
Ah,
kind of just got
right.
the camp breakfast, but it was good.
No breakfast.
Yeah,
Brought it
Is
to
that
you.
counts.
Is there any more of that breakfast left? I feel like
Nah.
Probably.
I'm very torn between being worried about Tromlin and wanting to go eat all of the leftovers.
Well, I mean, there was a big
You know
pot
what?
of
I
it.
think Tromlin would understand that I would prioritize leftovers, and he'd sigh and he'd say, "Okay, so I'm gonna go do that." Oh, hi,
He'd
Ellie.
hand you like a fresh biscuit out of
Ollie
his pocket,
Cam.
probably.
Ollie Cam. Ollie Cam.
Up dog.
Mhm.
Oh. They can't see Ollie in the
Oh, is
because
it cropped out?
he positioned
Ah.
himself perfectly
Aw.
behind your avatar.
Oh no,
Oh, yeah,
he's
he's
hiding
hidden.
behind Fetid.
He's literally hiding behind your fetid
Maybe
avatar.
if I
It's quite
tilt
funny.
things just a little bit.
There's our boy.
Ollie Pan.
So what are we
No,
doing today?
no.
I remember there was like a wizard or something, and also like maybe Sal's in trouble, because like my mom sent him something even though she's dead, and then there was bad guys. There was a guy in town I was going to talk to.
Oh, yeah.
He was a bounty hunter. But I'm up for anything.
A lot going on.
Oh.
Waiting to hopefully hear back from our wizard buddy. Refresh my memory. Where did we leave things off with the leader of this bandit camp?
I think
Last
we were.
night?
Yeah, if you got it in character, go for it.
Yeah.
If you need me to refresh, just ask.
So the quick summary, which I'll do out of Perny voice, just to make the information faster, is I think that we had basically said we need to figure out where Shaylin Tark is and either kill
Right.
her or figure out how to sever them from the magic
Okay.
that
Yeah.
they're
Okay,
using.
yeah.
That's helping them advance quickly. We also might want to bring more people into our alliance to fight back against them if it's going to involve more people.
Yeah,
But
because
I
it was
think
like a
that
big
we've all,
camp. It was probably more than we could fight on our own.
Yeah.
Mhm. And
But also, if we
especially
can-
since they have magical friggin' warlock
Yeah.
raven things. Yeah.
Like 6 of their warriors just about took out Ugna, so.
But if we can take out Shaylin, then that might be the end of them organizing this way, or it might be that whatever they've dark forces they've allied themselves with, we'll just pick a new puppet. So, I'm not sure.
Huh.
And did Shagrat? I know he has a solid map that shows all of their base locations that they move
Yeah.
between. Did he say this is where he thinks Shaylin is at a particular?
I believe that the idea was going to be that his he knows sort of where some of the most well-defended camps are that she's likely to be. And they were talking about sending scouting either magically. I believe it was mentioned, you guys were talking about your options, because it's like Fetid has his ability to send a bird that he can look through, or they could send various other kinds of. I can't remember if you were talking about any scrying options you might have. I think you were talking about the wizard potentially enlisting his aid in scrying.
Yeah.
And just generally, it was basically discussed that it would not be too difficult to figure out which camp Shaylin herself is at. I can't remember if I may have said that Shagrat just told you or whatever, but like either way, it's very straightforward for you to find out.
Okay.
Not as easy to completely just hide yourself in the woods when you have an army.
True.
So the way I see it, we either need to take care of her directly or find more allies in holding back the tide of attacks. But I fear that it may be too late to assemble the numbers to stop them at this point.
Well, I mean, there's just a few of us, and their camp's got a lot of people in it. Like, if it was a one-on-one kind of thing, we could call her out. That'd be different. But I don't know. I don't know about magic. Like, do they have like magic defending themselves or something?
Probably. They're probably very careful with their leader. So we would need some kind of ruse or
Maybe we should
shenanigan.
try and find the wizard then.
I do think that Dangalf's counsel would be most helpful.
Also, you can do the thing where you talk to people, right?
Yeah, only some people, but yes.
Oh. Which people?
Well, with my book, I can talk to all of you who have so kindly signed it for me. But
you can?
With
Cool.
with our, I think, do we have one scroll left or two of sending?
I think you had 2 in total, and you've used 1.
Okay.
I could be wrong. It might have been 3.
I think we got 3, and I can't
Yeah, I
remember
think we
if
have
we used
3.
1 or
Okay.
2.
I don't remember how
Yeah.
many.
Right. Then you've got 2 left. You've only used 1.
Yeah. But with these, we can I can contact anybody or any of us who can use magic can contact anyone who we know personally and send them a message. Anyone that we've met.
Okay, because I gotta warn Sal that his son's here, but that also like bounty hunters might be coming for him. Because I mean, Tom said that whatever my mom sent Sal was dangerous or something, or at least people want it.
I think instead of using a sending scroll, we should use one of my animal buddies to do that, because those are a less limited resource.
That makes sense too,
cool.
because I can't do magic, and I don't think you know Sal. Tromlin could have sent it, but he's not here.
So that actually is a very straightforward idea for Fetid, because you know Mud Hollow very well, so you can send, rather than trying to worry about giving a decent description of a place, of a person or place to the bird, you can just send your message to the Quaggles and have them instructed what to do.
Well, let's do that then.
I'm sure whatever kind of nasty bird you summon would
Yeah,
very easily find Quaggles.
I'm just gonna grab the first one I see. It's gonna be like some gross woodpecker, or just like a very very annoyed owl that I've woken up early in the morning.
Did you know that blue jays molt their entire head?
Oh no.
Yeah, when they molt, they just like everything from the neck up's just gone, and then they grow it all back.
That's embarrassing.
All at once.
I was picturing you
I'll have to
grabbing
keep
like
my eye out this fall then.
vulture-headed blue jay.
Yeah,
Nice.
I don't think I've ever seen a bald blue jay.
Old blue jay.
Yep.
Or to make it more Canadian, it'd be a whiskey jack.
Aw,
Oh,
I like whiskey
I know
jacks.
that
Just a mangy gray jay. Yeah, that's what they chose for
They're
the
humble.
the Canada bird, is like it was the most boring of the choices, the gray jay. But then
No.
whiskey jack is like a far
Whiskey
better
jack's
name.
pretty good.
Yeah.
That is a good bird name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like
You can
find like
some shit.
Yeah, you find a mangy mid-molt whiskey jack And you don't have to spend any spell slots today on this because Speak with Animals and Be Sense are both ritual spells, so you can just spend 10 minutes prepping and go, hey, bird, come here for a bit. Or sorry, not Be Sense. You're not doing Be Sense. You're sending a message.
Yep.
Right, so you do have to spend one slot because you do animal friendship to basically charm the Boyd.
Yeah.
And get it to carry your message.
Void is the void.
And is that feeling having to trick people into being your friends?
It's less like if you use Speak with Animals, I would let you just sort of like befriend an animal just through like conversation.
Being
But if
charming.
you're trying to get an animal to do like a special task that is outside of its normal activities,
Yeah, this bird is
then
going too far out
you
of
need to
its
do a
way.
charm spell. It's not even so much. I kind of seeing it more as a magical way to get it on task, because like if you make friends with like the birds, like yeah, we love this guy, and then you're like, hey, could you like fly like 100 miles that way and drop off a note for me? They're sort of like, sure, we like you, we'll do whatever you want, and then just go about they continue to hop around on
My
you and
birds love me very much,
eat
and I would
things.
not trust Meg with anything. She would forget in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, so I'm more or less treating it as a get animal to do a thing.
It just sets like
Makes
a magical
sense to me.
reminder in their little brain where they're like, oh yeah, I should be doing that thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh look, a shiny thing. Oh, I gotta do that
I
other
could
thing
use
now.
one of those.
I know. I was gonna say
It's
that
a better
sounds
way
like-
of doing it. The animal messenger spell is so weirdly specific. I much prefer doing it this way through the animal friendship spell. Okay, so yeah, you send a note. What do you want to put in this note?
Tell me what to tell the bird.
Okay, Tom is at the camp of the bandits. He got captured, but we freed him, which is good, but he's gonna have to stay here for a while, which is bad. But he's okay. We'll try and get him home at some point. But he said that you sent a message, that my mom had sent you a thing, and he got because there's a bounty on his head because he was carrying that thing, they thought. But you have it, so maybe you're in danger. So be safe.
All right.
Hey, so this is a
finish
written.
writing that in tiny,
note.
tiny letters on an acorn with the tip of a dagger, and then I grab the bird and I stuff it down his throat, and I let him go. Say that'll probably work.
I could enchant the acorn to say that out loud too, like a screamer.
Do you want to like do a magic mouse spell on
I
the
want to magic
acorn
mouse
just
the
while
acorn.
this is happening? Just
So that when it
overfed
gets
its
bombed
shoulder.
into Sal's place, it's just suddenly and I'm gonna do my best. I don't know if it has to be me who says it or like I can have Ugna speak into the mic, but I'm gonna do my best Ugna impression if it has to
A
be me.
Grey Jay talking in
Verbatim.
Uber's voice would be terrifying and amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, magic mouth I think is just on an object.
Yeah.
Ugna does not find it at all weird that you've got her to talk into an acorn and then shove this acorn into a bird. This is magic,
yeah,
right?
this is
how magic
pretty
do.
benign as far as Uncle Perny activities go. So, and the fact
No
that
blood
I'm
on this
involved
one.
just makes it seem even more legit.
Yeah, it says 25 words or less, but whatever.
Okay.
Yeah,
You can
we'll summarize that.
You can summarize that in 25 words or less because it was pretty rambling.
Yeah. Or we could just do 2 acorns.
The bird's like,
I like the idea that you cast this over Fetid's shoulder and they don't know that this is going to happen. Just carve these like illegible tiny letters into an acorn and it's just impossible to read. And you're just like, okay, zap.
Yep.
I also like that if we send 2 acorns, they're gonna go off at the same time. So
it's just Ugna
gonna be
talking over herself.
double
We get like a cool stereo chorus effect.
I'm sure that they do like D&D concerts that way set up.
Yeah. I once, very brief aside, I once assassinated somebody by casting Explosive Ruins on the same note in a piece of sheet music on a bunch of different copies of it, and sent a choir to like sing an apology at someone's house, and then the entire choir exploded at the exact same
Great.
synchronized moment in the
Good.
piece of music. And I blew up their entire house, and I was very proud of myself.
Very good.
Well done.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons, everybody.
Yep.
Okay.
Explosive
Hey guys, I have
choir.
an idea for how we can kill Shaylin Tark.
I was
Do you
gonna
think she likes
say.
Carolyn?
Wait. Why don't we just hang out at the camp and come up with ways to like accomplish our goal from here? We're waiting for Tromlin anyway.
Yeah.
We're rich in ability.
He's gonna get back from wherever he is, and we're gonna be like, all right, so listen, we figured it out.
We're gonna build a
rent a
giant
crane.
wooden horse.
We need
Yeah.
we need there to be a drought so that there's no water, and then they will drink Glorpa, and Glorpa will turn into a horse.
This is amazing. This
Oh, I
is
love
the
this now.
Ant-Man goes up Thanos' butt of our
Yep.
cinematic universe.
Yep.
Yep.
Trash Heroes. The Trash Heroes
Rube
cinematic
Goldberg of
universe.
D&D.
THCU.
So in all seriousness, if we got Shaylin Tark to drink Glorpa, and then Glorpa
Is that a
polymorph would
plan?
happen.
It doesn't work that way.
Oh
When-
shit!
when
Yeah,
Glorpa's,
maybe she's single. Is there like a bandit camp like Tinder that we can find?
More
'Cause
like
if we could
Bandit
get
Tramp.
you two to match.
Bandit Tramp.
Mhm.
Tramp.
I know I missed a good
So
one.
we have to lure
Well,
her out
that
on
probably is a
dates.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Bandit Tramp probably is a euphemism for a particular type of person that was by the camps.
I was so sad when I found out that the urban legend about the word hooker is not actually
Oh,
true, because
right.
it was like my favorite bit of Civil War trivia.
Oh, I
I
didn't know
don't
this
think
one.
I know what this.
Yeah, the urban legend is that one word for sex worker is hooker, because back in the U.S. Civil War, the Union had a General John G. Hooker, who was a bit of a philanderer. And it got to the point where, as a joke, people started referring to the women following the army around, the sex workers, as hookers girls, which then got shortened to hookers, and that's where the term came. But
Oh,
apparently
yes.
this is apocryphal. I was very sad because it was a really
Boo.
good story.
That is a
Boo.
good story.
Mhm.
Turns out that's apocryphal.
Yep.
So many words like that.
Do you think the people in the camp know much about Shaylin that we could ask
Oh yeah.
The
Worth
locals.
yeah.
asking.
about
Mhm.
Who's
anything
she
about their
into?
preferences, her preferences?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start
What's
asking around.
Shaylin
She-
like?
They,
Of
I
the
mean, they
garbage
used to
people
work. She
assembled
used to
here,
work
who's
with
their
them.
type?
Some of them
Yeah.
probably know her.
Oh,
Yeah, if you
that's
ask
right.
around, you will find that some of them. I mean, you can talk to Shagrat himself too, who also
That's
knows
true.
her.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was like, cause she started out as just joining the bandits.
This dumb
and,
idea
like,
is actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Also, we don't have Tromlin. I just feel like we should do something ridiculous
We
instead.
should, yes,
Of, like
correct.
using the adult in the room.
Yeah, we've lost our straight man for the session, so
Okay, so if you want to start asking around,
Yeah, definitely.
starting with
Say our
Shagrat
straight man,
himself.
who's maybe our only non-straight man.
mhm.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's kind of very much not a straight man. But you head over to like where the food is being assembled for the morning. There's a giant iron cauldron full of boiled mixed grains, like a very generic oatmeal-y porridgey thing. It might even be a pottage where it's like boiled grains and meat together.
Sorry for the derail, but have you seen this thing going around? It's like basically it's called Huel, as in fuel for humans, but it's literally just like gamer gruel. It's like puppy chow, but for people. It's
Nope.
It's worth looking
Nope.
up. It's pretty amazing.
They're like, what if Soylent
really
but
good.
texture?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want
That's exactly
textured
what it
Soylent?
is.
What if
Yep.
we branded
Bachelor Chow from Futurama.
Yeah, what if we branded Soylent as like Monster Energy drink? Like,
Oh,
let's
Yeah,
God.
basically.
bring those
Ugh.
forces together.
Terrifying.
I'm gonna guess that Rich Stevens has already bought it and eaten it.
Oh man, yeah,
Maybe.
that seems likely. We should ask him.
Yes.
But yeah, there's like various chunks of game boiled up with random mixed grains to make like a proteinaceous oatmeal breakfast material.
Oatmeal.
Yep, what they used to call pottage.
hmm
Where you just throw everything in a pot and boil it till it's stuff that you can eat. And of course, that means there's like lots of like gristly chunks and other garbage lying around that Fetid is like,
Oh, the
I'm just
good
gonna throw that
stuff.
away.
Wasn't
good
Grizzly
stuff that
Chunks
nobody
one of your
eats for
wrestling
some
friends,
reason.
Ugna?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Gristly
Chunks.
chunks.
Grizzly chunks.
All right, I'm writing that down.
Oh yeah.
Grizzly Chunk sounds like a goblin. He's
Yeah.
just the biggest,
It's got to be
goofiest
something
goblin.
big. Got to be like a bugbear or something.
Oh, bugbear.
A big
Yep.
fat bugbear.
Yep.
Mm.
Gristly chunks.
Mhm.
Grizzly chunks.
A bugbear who is also a bear.
Yep.
Grizzly. Oh, that's better. Grizzly. I was
Grizzly
doing
chunks.
gristle-y,
Yeah.
but grizzly.
He's definitely a bear then. He's got like a
Yep.
big
Yeah.
beard
He's a bugbear for
Mhm.
sure.
and like
Yeah.
big old
Mhm.
hairy forearms.
Yep.
Excellent. Good. Thanks for rating my NPCs for me.
But yeah,
And so
around the,
Shagrat is there by the fire, and you can go and chat with him. Say, what do you got? What do you know about this Shaylin Tark?
yeah, and Uncle Perny will take a bowl of the gruel so as to appear human, but he'll like kind of put it up to his mouth and then just put it back in his bowl.
Just keep just raising and lowering the spoon, not
Yeah.
actually putting it in your mouth.
Normal human living things. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That we all do to sustain our normal
Delicious
bodies.
nutrients.
Oh, hey, good morning, Shagrat. How's it going?
Crazy about the mists coming in. Make sure you don't. If you wander off, you're real likely to get lost. So maybe stay in here for. Usually it burns off by midday or so, but there's a lot of
Weird
fairies
weather.
out there.
Really? Fairies? Definitely, yeah. Haven't run into any trouble with them at all. Ever. Great.
They got some good drugs, though.
I mean,
Yeah.
hypothetically, they do.
Hypothetically.
Hey, these guys
I've
are
heard.
cool. I saw their storeroom.
Oh, that's right. Forgot about that.
Oh,
Hey, so Shagrat,
what do you want to know?
Shaylin was like, she worked for you, right? So you knew her pretty good?
Yeah, I recruited her.
Well, what's she like?
Hmm.
I mean, she's pretty slick, pretty fast. She's actually just going to pull up my file so I don't contradict what I've said before, because I was about to say she's an elf, and I'm trying to remember if that's actually correct.
I didn't write it down.
She is. Nope, I was wrong. No, she wasn't an elf. So he was like, yeah, I mean, like, she's fast. She's a good tracker, which is why I, she was like selling furs or something that she brought in out of the wild in town for a while, and she knew the hills pretty well, and could take care of herself, so figured she was a good ad. Out of character, you pretty much get the idea that she's like, if not a ranger, then something very similar.
Was she part of one of them, like, hill tribes? Like them, Perny, what were those guys called?
Oh, are we talking about the Night Slayers, or are we talking about something else? Just
They were the guys that attacked us at the waterfall.
the Night Slayers. I mean, it sounds like she. But when did she go over to join them?
She didn't go over to join anyone. She like so she was working for me for like over a year. And I mean, she was really capable. She was a good leader. So I started giving her more and more responsibility, right? And she, people started listening to her. And eventually they started, I don't know if someone put the idea in her head. There's always been, like, people get too big for their britches and figure maybe I should be running this operation. And when that happens, you got to put them down. But so maybe somebody put the idea in her head. Maybe it was all her. I don't know. All I know is she was really charismatic and she was able to get a faction on her side. And at first I didn't think too much about it because it wasn't that big of a faction. It was mostly like new folks. And, it's a big deal. But I'm the one who's got, more of the connections. Like if I need to bring in some extra muscle, come up from like Karsh or from out of Ravenfall or wherever, I can do that. But suddenly she had this like crazy magic, and she had these crazy maniacs from out of the hills coming and joining with her. And the next thing you know, it's looking like a good idea to side with her, and we lose even more guys. Right? So, it busted our operation in half, right? Like everyone who figured that she's the up and comer and the one to follow, they went off with them.
Did you ever think that maybe she was trying to do that from the beginning, like when you recruited her?
I don't think so.
Oh, so it was a plan she came up with later.
I don't think she when I recruited her, she was like living wild, like eating stuff she like caught herself in the wilderness and bringing in a few like pelts for trade when she could. Like she wasn't doing great. Like she wasn't starving to death or anything, but she wasn't like, I don't think there was a lot of ambition there.
She
When I
have
took her
any
on.
friends in camp that didn't go with her? Like somebody who knew her real close?
Hmm.
I mean, I think everybody who knew her, everybody that she made like real friends with went with her, obviously. But like,
Oh yeah.
there's people. I mean, there's some people you could talk to who might know some stuff that, like, I run things around here. Like, there's other people who went on missions with her and stuff like that might have some knowledge that you could use.
I
You
think
have a hunch
I'll
that
ask around.
I think
What was that?
I think the better we can get to know her and what motivates her, the better we can understand how to get her alone. Because if we're going to find out whether or not we can stop her without killing her, or if we need to have a well-timed shot to put an end to this, we need to know how to get her alone. So, do you know if she, when the attacks come from the Night Slayers, does she come with them or does she hide on the back line?
I mean, most of the attacks that aren't like haven't been a lot of survivors. That's kind of the whole point, right? So I have no idea. The few times that we've come out, like that whole thing the other day, we basically set up an ambush and tried to pull one over on them. We've done that a few times. I haven't seen her or have had a report about her those times, but I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, some other stuff about her. She's like big on the bow and arrow. So that might mean she's there, but she was hiding in the trees somewhere, taking shots. She likes to wear black. She has black hair. She likes to put that black stuff on her on her face, on her lips.
Ah,
She wears an ankh.
Everybody's thinking hot. Oh, nice. Good.
she draws
Wait.
a little curl
She
here with
does.
some eyeliner.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, a little
Yep.
little mascara curl.
Hmm.
Did you ever hook
Um,
up with any of your cohorts and have a bad breakup along the way? I don't know if you'd know that or
You can
not.
ask around, but I don't. I got
we
a
will.
don't ask, don't tell policy around here. I don't want to know what's going on. I don't want to know what goes on in people's tents.
Maybe we could challenge her to an archery contest, and then when it's her turn, we murder her.
This is
I'll dress
foolproof.
as a stork.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll dress as a fox dressed as a stork.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Can't go wrong.
I mean, I could make friends with the fox to do the whole fox dressed as a stork thing for us.
It's
And then while
literally
they're all
just a
turn into a
distracted by
fox.
that,
It's
like,
an
what
actual
the fuck
fox.
is this fox dressed as
It's
a
just
stork?
a
That's when
mangy
we
fox.
stab.
I like your plans.
We're getting some good
Shagrat
ones.
says he can he'll ask around or like send one of his people to ask around like anyone has anything else that they can tell you. And
Cool.
like later today when he gets that information he'll pass on to you. So you know who to talk to.
We want
Have
like the
you-
gossip rag of everything going on here.
Have you tried infiltrating her ranks, sending someone in as an informant, anything like that?
Not really, mainly because I mean it was an idea. Like we early on when she was like forming this faction, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, right? So we were just like, right, they've run off to one of the other camps. We're just going to go out there and put them down. I went off into the woods. But, you know, then these crazy fanatics out of the woods, right, came out of the north, started working for her. So, you know, we're not going to find volunteers who are willing to go put themselves in that kind of situation. And anyone who sort of did run off stayed run off. Like, I don't know that I would have anybody that I would trust to run off to there and not just turn around and join their side. That is someone I would
Youth.
want to risk losing,
Oh, right.
right? I mean, yeah. But anyway, I'll send my guys around and figure if there's anybody who chummed up with her more, I'll get them to come and talk to you.
I have 10 hard candies as a prize for anyone who can come up with an idea for how to get her in the open.
Okay, I guess I'll send that word around too.
Good job,
Okay.
Fernie. Gotta bait these kids.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Carrot and
I feel like there was a stump near the fighting circle, and I'm gonna go put 10 hard candies out on the stump so people can see what they're fighting for here.
Bowl in a little
10
bowl.
hole.
Yeah. Motivation 101.
Nice.
It's actually somebody's skull, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
So yeah, it's like a really nicely formed bowl, but it's like the top of a skull cut, it's flipped over,
Nice.
sanded flat on the bottom.
Mhm.
Nice. So you guys head back to your little camp spot with Tom. When you get over there, Tom, there's a sort of grizzled-looking older goblin fellow.
Grizzly Chunks! He appeared
it's not-
already!
It's not Grizzly Chunks. He's a bugbear, and he's a wrestler. Maybe he's related to him. But he's like this guy's like big tufts of gray hair coming out of his big goblin ears. He's he's got a nose that's been broken at least twice, all crooked. Just rough-looking guy. And he's wearing a leather apron, and he's got some tools, like some sort of smith or wright. And he is chatting with Tom about how they're going to set up. Tom's sort of like, well, I mean, you guys don't have any kind of real fire. Like we can't, I can't make serious dwarfen armor or anything like that without a proper forge. But we can definitely set something up and do some fixes on some of this junk you guys have.
What would it take to build a forge?
I mean, stone and like really good fuel, like good hard charcoal, and then you'd need like proper bellows, and I mean, I'd need a team. Like you can't just.
Well, you got bandits.
I mean, he's like looks around like you've just. He looks like it's like you've seen the same look on Tromlin's face when you've been like, why don't we make a cake? Like when you're out, like journeying somewhere, and he's like, I have like no ingredients. Like we just have flour.
But you're
and you're
so
like, well,
good at this.
But you can get eggs from like birds. There's birds here.
Is there some honey?
And it's like the look that he gives you. Yeah, the look that he would give you in that circumstance is the look that Tom gives you now.
Look. It's fine.
When you suggest that he uses the bandits as like to replace his team of dwarven smiths.
Maybe they will enjoy learning an honest trade.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, it won't be like the best quality stuff, but. And so, while you are having this little chat, actually, first I was going to ask you if there was anything more that the group wants to discuss amongst yourselves now. I don't know. I think you shared the details of Glorpa's vision.
I haven't shared the half where where Diomedes is being pulled in, but I think I did mention that.
Yeah, you just tell us that Boltrey is there.
Yeah, he knows that Tromlin's here and wants it dead. But yeah, I guess I'll add in that. And our friend Diomedes, it seems that he is now on Lord Boltrey's radar, and I worry for his safety. He's done us nothing but kindness, and we have brought him nothing but grief.
Oh, jeez.
Maybe I should burn another spell slot and send another bird full of screaming acorns to let him know.
I think it's already too late.
Shit.
Oh no.
Full of screaming acorns.
Should I go to sleep?
Is he dead? I hope not.
No. But I think that he is. I would guess by now a guest of Lord Boltrey, whether or not he wishes to be.
Oh.
Did you get Diomedes to sign your book?
I did not.
You also have a limit. There's a set number of people you can have in the book. It's actually technically a dumb limit, and I expanded it to be the group
party. Yeah.
Because I think it was like 3 or 4 or something, and I was like, how about it's exactly all of the group, so you can get everybody.
Makes sense.
It's PernyNet.
Yeah.
Once a day, a demon downloads into your brain. It's fine.
No side effects of installation. So yeah, I can sign you up. The contract lasts forever, and the payment terms are your soul.
Yeah.
So the same as all cell phone networks, really.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so while you're sort of chatting about this, maybe even considering whether it might behoove you to make a trip back to Stormhill between this this bounty hunter and the situation with Diomedes and Lord Boltrey. But while you're discussing this matter, you suddenly hear a voice.
Alrighty.
And the voice in your head says, "Hello, it is I." Hang on, I gotta count my words. It is I, Dangalf the Wizard. Waste all those words here.
That's
Can you
upsetting.
not reply to me? I must know your location, that we may confer about these matters. There, that's exactly 25.
Sorry, limited data plan. We are at the Shagrat Scarfang's bandit camp at, and I'm going to give a rough description of where we are.
How about you make me a roll, because this is this kind of geography is not your forte.
Well, I'm going to do a long pause before I give the description, so if anyone with better nature knowledge or geography knowledge wants to chime in to
Yeah,
give
I
a better
can-
description, I can pass that on. So
Yeah.
we are
Would that be
located
nature?
at...
Sure.
What would
Well,
it be?
first I'll get Copernicus to
Or
make me a
survival.
nature roll.
Or can I, is it... Nature's
Nature
better
or
than me.
survival would both be better, but nature's better for you.
Okay, so then 17 with my bonus.
Oh, excellent. Okay. You start giving, like, you're like, the hill near the bend in the road, and Fetid kind of chimes in and is like, "Oh, there's like a valley, a forested valley, like 2 hills south and 1 east, or sorry, east-west of the of that big one you can see right from the." And basically you start parodying this. You probably run out of words like in the middle of it, but like it's a middle of an embellishment. Like you're just sort of going, and then there's a ravine just north, and then there, so you get as much out as you can in your 25 words. That 17 roll was decent enough that you managed to sort of give some landmarks.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I want to see if I can like wisdom into like save like 3 words to add a thing to the end. But no, that's fine. We'll just talk about it when he gets here. And then I'm gonna now, before I forget, run and find Shagrat again and let him know that Dangalf the Wizard is coming to camp, and he is a friend.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
You also rolled well enough. I think I'm going to give you. You realize that probably the best thing you could do is to have some kind of signal.
Right.
Because you guys are like in the trees, in a forested valley between rocky hills. So you could, for example, go up to the hillside and like start a fire, or make some smoke.
Ooh. Yeah.
Get
I'm
fetid
gonna.
to
I'll check with
summon some weird owls.
Yeah, when you see the really weird owl, that's where we are.
I guess we
I mean,
could send an animal to guide him to us.
Yeah.
Also an option, yes.
Just like,
Yeah.
there'll be like a real scraggly looking vulture. Look for
Yeah.
that.
You just follow that.
Yeah.
You actually can do that with without using a spell slot, Jeff. Fetid could use Beast Sense and just control an animal.
True.
And then you can just like, I'm going to take this one bird and circle right in this area, and then watch for wizards.
That sounds like a good plan.
You want to pick something particularly notable?
Let's see.
But you give me
What's the most?
Give me a nature roll,
Yeah.
or survival, whichever you prefer, and I will use that to determine what you can find.
I'm going to use nature even though it's low because I think that will be funnier.
Survival will
And I'm
do
glad
as well
I did
because
that is a 7.
Ooh.
So total of 7.
Yes.
Now, if that was a survival roll, that would be a total of 15. So
yeah.
still not super great, but not terrible. I'll say that you managed to find an owl. you're looking around for birds, and they just keep, every time you get near them, like you step on a twig and like they fly away, and you're like, God damn it!
Sounds about right.
But then you find a hollow where there's a sleeping owl, and you're like, that one's asleep. I can do my spell. Got it.
Mine now. Now you are me.
Yeah, so you've got like a barred owl.
How fast do wizards travel? Like, is he flying here? Is this?
If he's
can
not teleport, he can teleport.
Oh.
But
You've seen
Right?
him fly.
yeah,
Right. Are we expecting him within the day, probably? I guess reasonably
Yeah.
for us.
I think we could expect him
Yeah.
for the day.
summon wizard.
Lorpa could, like, turn into a fountain at some point, and if we have a rough idea as to... I don't know.
Well, Fetid can certainly let you guys know. So basically, Fetid
Yeah.
is like lying against a tree, drooling on himself,
Right.
while
Mhm.
he's actually up in the owl, sort of like hanging out, being an owl.
Literally role playing an owl.
Yep. Every once in a while, you see a mouse and you get distracted.
Yeah, it turns out being an owl sucks because they're really dumb.
They're very little brain, mostly
Mhm.
eye.
Mostly eye. Not smart.
Instinct.
Very
I'm
few
gonna-
predatory birds are smart.
I'm going to tell everybody a fun science fact, just fun biology fact, because there's a dungeon biologist here, and that's my responsibility. There was a really hilarious series of events that occurred in the UK. I don't remember what decade it was, but it was basically when swimming pools started to become popular. When like personal swimming pools or public swimming pools got popular. And what happened is that there were pools that were open at night for night swimming, and it was just being really popular to go night swimming. And there was a rash of owl attacks on middle-aged men. And it turns out the reason for this is that owls are so instinct-driven, and owls can see into the infrared. And one of the ways in which owls hunt at night is they can literally see the thermal signature of rodents in the undergrowth. And so balding men with wet hair have a warm patch about the size of a rodent surrounded by the cool wet hair at night. And owls were going, small moving thermal
Mousy.
thing must strike. And then the owl would hit a balding man's head and then be like, whoa, this is not what I signed up for, and then go flapping off confused while the person, like, if you've ever seen an owl's claws, like, would have like
They're like,
lacerated
time.
scalp and go to the hospital. And there was like a whole thing, this article about owl attacks.
It's perfect. I
And
love
it took them
Owls.
years to
owls are
figure
so
out
dumb.
what was happening. And it's just because the owls were like, there's a bunch of loud people here, but I see the little red spot that tells me I must pounce.
Mhm.
I want this to be the Mothman origin story.
Uh-huh.
So there's your biology fact for the game here.
Yeah.
Oh, I just saw somebody in the chat. I said it was a barred owl, and so barred owl because
gonna
it's
sing.
D&D,
gonna sing with us.
Hey.
like an owl bard.
Owls have asymmetrical ears. One is high on their head and one is low on their head.
Excellent.
A derpy.
They do.
Yeah. It's so they can triangulate sound
They do.
better.
Ah,
Yeah,
that
the
makes sense
funky
how
the
useful.
funky owl face is a radar dish,
Yep.
a sonar dish. That funky owl face is for taking sound waves.
Yeah, if you
What
ever
you
want
have to do when
a
you hunt
bad
at
day,
night.
look at an owl with no feathers on. It's not good.
They look
Just
really,
aliens.
really bad.
Mhm.
Okay, so having now had this silent exchange, Copernicus, are you going to let and then you then tell Fetid about?
Yeah. Dangalf is on his way, but
sorry,
he
yeah,
can't be tied.
you spoke out loud as you were
Yeah.
replying, so that Fetid would know to give you more landmarks.
Mhm.
And then Fetid goes and finds an owl, casts his spell, and flies up to kind of hover around the area. Anything the rest you want to do while you're waiting now? You basically have sent up the owl signal
Hmm.
to summon the wizard.
It's probably not smart to do so.
We're just
because,
hanging out.
We are training bandits who will attack regular citizens. But Ugna can't help but help out. So she's going to go and, like, do some basic training with some of these bandits with hand-to-hand. She's, like, just doing her morning workout. She sees somebody else working out. It's like, oh, your form's all wrong. Hey, here. And then she, like, ends up teaching a class.
Well, yeah, I mean, Rockgar comes looking for you, and so you quickly, like, him and his buddies are now all, like, getting like a pit fighting masterclass from the Bone Crusher. Excellent.
Mhm.
And how does
Alright.
Shagrat take the news that like someone? Because I haven't told him that like Dangalf is working with the
Right.
Bolteries, kind of, or like
Say,
represents the
a
law in
wizard,
some way.
Dangalf is coming.
Yeah.
If all you're doing is telling him, hey,
Yeah.
this wizard named Dangalf is coming,
Yeah.
then he gives you a pretty good opportunity, because he'll immediately respond by saying, something along the lines of, "Oh, you're bringing in a wizard? That's probably a good move. This guy any good? Is he got any experience hunting down freaky warlocks and whatever?"
I value his counsel. However, so and who does Dangalf represent? What's the like administrative body that he's a function
Okay,
of?
so there is an order of wizards
Hmm.
that are all sort of they've all got their selected colors.
Hmm.
The Wizard's Veil on the map, which you guys have seen before.
Which I can pull up.
Do you want to pull up the map?
I can
I
pull up
think
the
the
map.
Wizard's Veil. Yeah, you might have to like move the center, like move it
We'll
to
have
the
to zoom
side so that
out.
the Wizard's Veil is visible. But go ahead.
There's the Wizard's Veil.
Yes. And so the tower in the Wizard's Veil is kind of like a library kind of deal. It's basically a place where all of this order of wizards kind of come and go and travel. Glorpa has seen the wizards traveling up the Brownwater, up the river on occasion. I believe I mentioned that in a previous game. I'm just watching your map is now moving. I'm caught up. Just checking to see if it actually ended up on screen.
Yep.
Now, it does not appear to have made it on my screen because we're
I-
covering it up. Oh no, you
I'm
did
seeing
it.
Wizard's Veil, yeah.
There you go. I'm just probably a bit
You're a
behind.
little lagged.
I always seem to be a bit more lagged. Yeah, and so there's like a whole bunch of wizards there who are like advisors to various kings across the world, really, but particularly in the north. And so the king of the north, Nedric Strack,
Hmm.
is particularly known for conferring with the Order of Wizards. But Dangalf is a relative, like low-ranking fellow. Dangalf's main shtick is that he is like an instructor wizard. He trains young mages at the magic school in Mud Hollow.
Okay.
Cool.
So I will say
And
that.
so you know of some of the other wizards. I could give you some names if you want them.
That's okay. I don't think they'll be relevant for this
Save that for
conversation.
another day. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll forget them by the time they're relevant. So
Mm.
we'll pull those up
But he
later.
did say he works for Lord Baltry, right? Or he's like, kind of.
I mean, I
You're
think
not sure with the specifics. You talked to him briefly when you guys were fighting, before you guys were fighting the Shambling Mound, the Shimbo.
Oh, Shimbo.
And all you got out of him at that point, all you were back and forthing, was that he was there as part of an investigation into Otto's death. And if you'll recall, you actually sent a message back to Mud Hollow about, or not, I can't remember if you actually sent it or if you just talked. I think Tromlin talked to the guards in Stormhill about Otto's death and said we should send word that
Right.
they should,
Right.
there should be a murder investigation. And then like the next day is when Dangalf the Wizard showed up.
So he's like magic CSI, and probably if he might represent Nedric's interests wherever Nedric needs interests, or was he dispatched from Mud Hollow?
Oh, he was dispatched clearly from Mud Hollow. That's where his school is.
Right,
So
okay.
it may have just been the
And
Baron.
that he was
It may have just been the Baron in Mud Hollow.
But like, you can sell it to Shagrat however you want.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. He didn't know.
Right.
He's never even heard of this guy.
Yeah.
He is a powerful and wise wizard. However, he does serve as an advisor to numerous politicians and leaders. So I would keep the dirtiest of your business hidden away while he's around, just in case. But for now, he is as invested as we are in putting an end to Shaylin's rampages. So we will treat him as an ally. Glorpa doesn't like him.
Well,
Oh,
he set me
yeah.
on fire too.
Yeah, I didn't like him.
I forgave him. It's fine.
Anyway, we're still a
You
little
didn't
on
like
the
him at
fence.
the time. I don't know if there's like a lasting impression of any sort.
Well, so
I'm gonna go
far,
back and
Glorpa's
see how much-
intuitions have been good. So, Perny is putting stock in them and banking those in the decision making about
Thank
that we make
you.
about him.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
check my diary, see what I wrote about him. Oh, there's a drawing.
Aw.
Yeah, you didn't like the fact that he threw a fireball into the. He threw a fireball at the shambling mound, but Ugna was in the line of fire.
Mm-hmm.
I was just a little on fire. It's fine.
It sounds like you both had a blast with the shambling man.
I drew him cross-eyed.
Okay. So yeah, you continue. You have your conversation with Shagrat. You guys, Tom is setting up some kind of makeshift forge so he can do some basic work, patch up whatever they need patching up, and repair armor. And keeps explaining to Shagrat that he can't just like make magic swords in the woods with a fire. And while Fetid is circling around with this owl, and in doing so, at one point, you catch a glimpse in the distance of some kind of shining thing in the sky. You're not so far away, you're not sure what it is. You're like, maybe a wizard could have like, if he had like a magic thing going on, he might be all sparkly and
It's a UFO.
flying there. So you sort of start like circling higher and flapping and hooting and trying to like get whatever it is his attention.
Mhm.
And then the next thing you know, there's a crack, like a very localized thunderclap, and Dangalf the Wizard appears out of nowhere in the mists nearby, near your owl self, and says,
Does he have a visible bald spot?
"No, because of the pointy hat, I'm afraid."
All right.
Yeah.
He's safe for now then.
Excellent.
Although I do know someone's collecting hats.
That's true.
True.
And he says, "Good morning, my good owl."
I hoot at him. And I somehow try to motion for him to follow me as an owl while flying. It's
like one claw.
But
And you
Yeah,
do like
yeah.
this with the talons.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's very, very cute, but also derpy because owls.
Yep.
Mhm.
Lead the way. And he
All right. I will lead
follows
him down to where we're at.
and he follows you down through the mists and the trees into the camp. And so the rest of you down there by the fire, suddenly an owl comes flying down out of the mists, and following the owl is a flying, dirty yellow-robed wizard. With a, I mean, not that the robe is dirty, but the color is a dirty yellow. Because if you will recall, he is Dangalf the Dun.
Ah, that's right.
I will stop
khaki.
showing them how to do a proper throw and be like, carry on, you're doing real good. Keep it up. And wander back over to wherever else is.
I will stop being an owl.
The owl basically flies away, but then Fetid wakes up.
Does Shagrat seem interested in meeting Dangalf? Like, does he seem like he's going to be part of our council, so to speak?
No, in fact, he's very deliberately kind of... Well, actually, no, because of the way you sold it to him, actually, yeah, probably. Because you kind of were like, yeah, I am enlisting the help of this wizard to deal with our problem. So he's standing nearby, and he's kind of holding a hand up, and you can see various slightly hidden in the trees, the various guards who have arrows sort of pointed at this wizard that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he's just sort of got a hand up to sort of like, nope, it's okay. This wizard is supposed to be here. And he flies down to the group.
Hail Dangalf, and well met again. I regret that we parted under such difficult circumstances last time.
Greetings. Yes, indeed.
This is Shagrat Scarfang, the leader of the bandits here, and perhaps the only thing that has been standing between Shaylin Tark and the Night Slayers rolling over
You say?
more and more territory. So far we have whatever crimes he may have committed in the past with his men, allegedly. I think it's very best that we forget those and leave them in the past, as him and his soldiers have been the only thing keeping the town safe, I would say, as the forces of the Night Slayers grow. Overselling both sides to each other.
I do not understand this. You clearly have much to tell me.
Yes.
We must confer.
Yes. Tell me the results of your investigation into the murder of Otto Thriftwick first. I'm very curious to know.
You had given us much to go on. I'm trying to remember everything you told them about. The missing documents seem to have no bearing on the business activities of young Thriftwick. All of the records of related to his stores, his business interests, when we questioned his various associates, all of that was present. None of it had been taken. So whatever documents were indeed missing must have been personal in nature.
They were inside a safe, right?
Kinda. They were like, there was a room. There was a locked room that was like the room where all of his, money counting and paperwork was all done. And you had noted at the time that the gold and like no money was taken. Nothing of obvious value was missing. The documents had been rifled through, and that was it. We have also spoken with many of his business associates, both in Storm Hill and at either end of the road between Ravenfall and Mud Hollow. And we found that there were no particularly interesting or noteworthy transactions that have gone awry. There have nothing beyond this, and he kind of looks over at Shagrat, this matter with the banditry disrupting some of his business. But nothing which we can connect to this murder. It was a magical weapon that did the deed. Damage to the body was primarily magical in nature.
I'm going to pull out the dagger and, like, keeping it mostly wrapped, slightly, like, show Dangalf and say, was it, do you think perhaps a blade like this?
As you expose it, like you hold it in the shadows, there's not much light, but there's still a little bit of like smoke comes off of it like before.
Mm.
It's most curious. No murder weapon could be found. Very much perhaps a weapon of this nature.
We found
Magical.
We found this when our caravan was attacked the night that we pulled in.
May I? He holds out a hand.
Yeah, I'll wrap it back up and be very obvious that I'm covering it, and then hand it to you.
Oh, yeah,
You
if you put
recognize
that-
immediately.
Yeah.
He takes it in his hands, and you recognize immediately that he's casting an identify spell on it. And you're sure he's going to get exact same information. He's actually casting the spell with a slot, so he's not taking 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yes, this weapon or one like it, this spell, I should say, I very much believe was the method. Well, this also fits with my investigations. I very much believed that a warlock of some sort was involved. My divinations had led me to believe that there was patronage of some sort of fey creature or fairy creature drove the magic behind his death.
It would seem that Shaylin Tark's band of bandits has allied itself with...
This band of bandits here.
No, this is Shagrat.
No.
They've
These guys are chill. They're cool.
They're cool. They're the last holdout of cool in this whole forsaken
Uncool
area.
world.
Shaylin Tark seems to have allied herself with some faction of the cult of the Raven Queen, and with those powers combined, and perhaps a little bit of nationalistic jingo around the hillfolk, is amassing an army with numbers, devotion, and magic. And
Army, you say?
And I wonder if it's an army strong
not...
enough to take the entire town. I think we could be getting near that point.
They fight
which is
real
why
good.
I thought it was
They're real
time
dangerous.
that we brought you in for a discussion.
I think you need to tell me more. Let us find some place. He kind of looks around at like all the bandits who've gathered around. They're like, "Oh, there's a wizard or something." Let us speak privately, and tell me everything you know.
And it's it's Chaga Khan that this reminds me of, right? Like his whole yeah. Okay.
As opposed to Chaka Khan, which would be different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Different guy.
Different. So yeah. So when we go aside, I'll say that what is happening reminds me disturbingly of Chaga Khan unifying the Ravager tribes. Their early victories through stealth magic. There seeming to be some kind of dark force behind and manipulating the entire movement, and I worry about how deeply it's rooted and how far it could go if it's not stopped soon.
Start at the beginning. I know nothing of these bandits. I mean, I have heard that there were bandits fighting one another on the roads that was had led to several deaths, but I had not been briefed on these matters.
Well, Shaylin
I
Tark,
came to Stormhill because a message was received by members of my order. The merchants of Mudhollow were most upset to learn of the murder, the assassination of young Frithwick. I believe there was some sort of business transaction being arranged by him that the Merchants Guild was most put out to hear of his death. And so they petitioned Baron Greytower, and he asked that I investigate. He came to see me at the augury and asked that I quickly travel to Stormhill while the trail was still not yet cold, to learn what I could of this assassination. And that is what I have been investigating. I know nothing of these other matters. So, as quickly as you can you tell me what you can of these things? This sounds like a much greater danger than merely the disruption of Merchant Guild business.
I think that Otto's death was one small sacrifice of a piece in a much larger game. And I'll explain that Shaylin Tark was previously a member of the bandit camp here, started her own faction, seems to have allied herself with warlocks, whose patron is probably Fae and probably the Raven Queen, and with their powers, they are starting to attack more and more and more, and the infighting is becoming massacring, and the massacring looks like it could hit a scale of taking down entire towns.
Well, a couple key things I want to know, whether you're conveying. We don't have to play through the whole conversation where you're just recapping what the audience already knows.
Yeah.
But are you explaining like what your role here is? Because remember, you were sent by the Thieves Guild to stop the fighting between the bandit factions.
Yeah.
Are you relaying any of that?
No, I'm gonna let if Dangalf asks. Yeah, if Dangalf asks, we'll consider putting up some information, but I'm not gonna volunteer that.
We're just here as adventurers.
Yeah.
So you're basically framing this as the bandits in the hills here have had a schism, which no one would particularly care about, except that the one group has gained some crazy unholy power through warlock magic, through the Raven Queen, and have allied themselves with these barbarians from the north called the Night Slayers, who want to basically come and destroy the cities. At the very least, the town of Stormhill, but probably just starting there.
Yeah.
Okay. So he will want to know, first of all, how do you know it's the Raven Queen? I did some divination spells regarding the nature of the magic that killed young Thriftwick, and what I had learned was that fairy magic was involved, likely of the dark and wintry nature. But you say it is specifically the Raven Queen. Do you have evidence of this?
I do. It would be perhaps incriminating to tell you where I got it from, so I would ask that you observe. We are here in an unofficial capacity. No one has asked us to be here except for us, and I may have had a brief and illuminating conversation with the corpse of Otto Thriftwick privately. And it came directly from Otto.
Seeing ravens everywhere, like that one with the red eyes, and the one that was like a ghost, and the raven people. There's just lots of ravens.
Ghost.
We were attacked on the road by the Vilderevin. Vilderevin. And we've seen a red-eyed raven familiar following us through much of our travels.
You think this? Oh, if you could capture this raven, you would definitely have a very powerful link to the warlock involved. Presuming it is the same warlock, the Vilderevin. Well, that does implicate the Raven Queen.
Oh, also they all got magic tattoos or something.
Mhm.
Ravens.
Not like a knife on their chest.
Ravens have a tattoo.
No, the hill folk
Uh.
do. I'm gonna draw it. I'm gonna draw it because I've drawn it once before,
Okay.
so I think I can do a decent version.
I
of it.
see. I do not know this symbol. Hmm.
And we know that. Also, Otto told us that his rival Edric dwells in Ravenfall.
Edric, you
Edric.
say. Excellent. That's Edric of Ravenfall. He makes a note to himself. He's not, actually he'll magic like a quill and a parchment will appear out of nowhere in his hands and he'll take some notes.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever he lets go of them, when he's done writing, they just disappear again. And he'll say,
Cloud.
well, the Raven, this means this might relate to the Raven, the cult of the Raven Queen. And that would point us to Ravenfall.
But what is not clear to me is which head of this beast we need to cut off. If we kill Shaylin Tark, will it be enough to stop the Hillfolk and their movement, or will the cult of the Raven Queen continue to manipulate them? There are so many tendrils to this great shadow that I worry about where we should try to stop it.
I can tell you what I know about the cult of the Raven Queen. It has existed for a very, very long time, longer than I have. Always that has had its center at the city of Ravenfall, and in part because of the Raven folk of the north. But it is not merely restricted to the Raven folk and other worshippers of the fairy creatures. There are those among our society who join this cult, whether they be merchants or lords and other landholders, or simple peasantry. It is not a single, well, it is not always a single powerful group. There is much heterodoxy among the cultists of the Raven Queen. You must understand there are many of these fairy lords, powerful creatures. Their world and ours mirror each other. I am sure some of you are familiar with the Feywilds, and the entities of the Feywilds. Well, they affect our world. There are connections with the seasons, with the growth and death of things, all of the natural world. And the Raven Queen is merely one facet of the autumn and the winter. And long have there been rivalries between that side of things and the spring and summer, I think death and rebirth and that sort of thing. So that there are many individuals that worship these type of spirits, or who find themselves drawing their power, their devotion among the Fey Lords. They do not necessarily they are not necessarily organized. Not like, say, the Church of Njord or Odin of the north, where their temples are organized among themselves, and they have their own wealth. And over the history of this cult, there has been times where there have been leaders who have emerged and gained power, but it has always come and gone. And of course, the individual periods in the history of this cult, there may be more or less fanaticism. Many followers of the Raven Queen simply pay their obeisance to the Fae and put out the holly at the right time of the season and that sort of thing, all the way to those who are far more ambitious in their quest for power. There have been rumors in the past few years that there is once again a single strong voice within the cult in Ravenfall. In any case, the merchants of the North, there is a greater membership among the merchants of the North within the cult of the Raven Queen than there has been in some years past. I would go so far as to say the Countess Nightshade, the lady of Ravenfall, many presume or suspect that she has had dealings with the cult or is a member, perhaps. But I would argue it is unlikely that she is particularly tied to the powers of this cult, to whatever sorts of ambitions they have, simply because she has held power in Ravenfall for over 50 years, while the cults the cult has waxed and waned in its fortunes during that time. One would suspect that if she was particularly involved in the cult's goals, that when they gain power, they would keep it. Or that she herself would lose power when they lose power. You are familiar with the Raven Queen, I take it? It's this fairy creature?
Heard bits and pieces, this and that, but I've not heard the story told quite so before. What cult is her opposite? What cult represents spring and summer?
I would not say there is a cult exactly. There are sects or remember, we are speaking of beings that are merely gods themselves. Yes, so one would not simply say, while there may be in a particular place a cult of Garl Glittergold, the gnome god, one would not say it is all worshippers of that god are a cult. Yes?
But who?
Generally, it is one of the primary rivals to the Raven Queen is the prince or princess of the Court of Darkness, or one of the lords of the Court of Darkness, while the Court of Light is their primary foes or rivals. I would say the Horned King is one of the Fey lords that would be particularly opposed to the Raven Queen. But you must understand, this is from time immemorial, the Fey lords have squabbled with one another. And always, of course, through their minions. They do not personally take weapons and attack one another. And so these wars have been long and petty and subtle. It is likely that if there is a a powerful force within the cult of the Raven Queen right now, they would have their own goals. It is not they would not be seeking to do a thing that their god wishes them to do specifically. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Out of character for a second. So yeah, like the Raven Queen is like not directly endorsing this franchise, But definitely this franchise is like using the Raven Queen's magic and resources and gaining power in their own way. So we have no idea that like if other
Exactly.
people involved are going to be
Right.
involved.
Well, you
with
think
it.
about it in terms of like as a warlock, right? You might, depending on your type of patron, you might be like, my patron is like, Bob Thulu, the otherworldly entity,
Thulu
and
Dan.
Bob Thulu may, on one hand, be like, I specifically want you to do this crazy ritual that will open a gate, and I will like eat all of reality. Or it can be more, worship me, I wish power, murder is the blood god, murder all the people that you can, and I want to, that's good for me, right? But that isn't necessarily, a specific, this is the thing I want to happen. So this is kind of the way you're going, right? These are like fairy creatures that are tied to like the basics of nature, right? So like a goal of the Raven Queen might be, yay, eternal winter, for example. But that's not the kind of thing that like, Fred the Warlock is gonna go, oh yeah, let me just get on that.
Yeah.
It's much more general power source battery, and then what you do with that power is like your deal. So the cult of the Raven Queen is effectively an entity or an organization that's been around in one form or another for a long, long time. But as generations of people come and go, what that cult is doing comes and goes or changes.
Well, as I see
Recently,
it,
somebody is get something going on.
as I see it, one option we have is to approach perhaps one of the more, perhaps Countess Nightshade, perhaps somebody associated with the cult who would be nervous to see its dealings dragged into the public through the brutish warlord tactics of Shaylin Tark, and see if they might stop her before she brings ruin to the Raven Queen's name. And the other would be to find a representative of the Horned King, somebody who would not wish to see these territories fall into the hands of the Shadow Court, and see if they could bring their forces to bear. These are plays in our playbook.
So a couple other things that you'll start to sort of pull together here with this conversation. I'm just looking for if there's more information I wanted
Also,
Dangalf
Also,
to
we're
give you.
about at break time, so we should
Oh, right.
think about that. We're like, what, much
Yeah.
past?
Actually, let's take our break now then,
And you can like sort through your notes.
and we can decide what else you're going to get out of chatting with Dangalf, and what other questions you have that you want to ask
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
And it'll give you a chance to think about it.
Want
So
to learn
So
we'll
let's take 10.
10 minutes here, and
Yep.
we'll see you back at 20 after 5.
Yep.
Cool.
Cool.
See you,
See y'all.
everybody.